podcast, and I'm your host, Marcus Murray. Glad to have you back, and we're going to continue where we left off with the Power Years. Hopefully, you've had a chance to get this book by Kenneth Dykewald, and you've had an opportunity to take a quick look at some of the areas that we talked about on yesterday. The most important takeaway from our conversation yesterday was that people do not know who you are when you may not know who you are. So, our goal in this 365-day journey is that together we actually uncover the power of our potential and we're able to move with precision. This book has been so good. It's actually, it focuses quite a lot on the other part of our lives as the 44-year-old and older individual. We have to start looking at how do we actually regain our footing in the community and in society. I today was in a lunch with a gentleman and we were having an amazing conversation. He had a chance to share with me the book that he just wrote, which is incredible. And we're going to have him on the show and you will be able to learn some amazing things. This gentleman is a trainer, a fitness trainer, a professional athlete. And this is a gentleman that actually trains other athletes in professional running, like at the Olympic level. So it was really an amazing conversation that we were able to share. But what was interesting, he's obviously extremely fit, looks very young. And I had to ask, how old are you? And again, he's just over 44. And what's interesting, we began to talk about other individuals that we both know that seem to have not come out of the what we'll call the COVID slump. People that have really stopped living. They've almost hibernated or retreated into a place of fear and isolation that's created now a moment of desperation where these people are not living life. Life is actually living them. It's a weird thing when we, at whatever point, give up our ability to keep our hand on the steering wheel of the life drive that we're all in. And so it's really important. What I noticed about this book, The Power Years, I thought that it was going to totally focus on our financial power, our social power, all of the power and authority that we've been granted, having been able to get to a point where we have more years behind us than ahead of us. But what it actually did, it took a very unique turn that I believe is good for us all. In the book, The Power Years, he actually goes on to talk about living a richer, fuller, more complete life. And the way that we do that is by engaging others. So it's really timely. Even though the book was written 20 years ago, the principles that are being taught are absolutely important right now. And they can actually help you break out of where you were so that you can burst into your new future. I'm excited about the transformation journey that so many of us are on. And one of the things that they talked about in the book was the importance of connection. So remember, in the previous episode, episode number 19, I talked about the experiment that the world ran on us all that actually forced individuals such as you and I into not reclusivity, but it basically forced us into complete and total isolation. I'm not sure if you remember those visits where one person is on one side of a window and you're on the other side, that desperate need that we all had to sacrifice the need for human touch, for human engagement, for human contact. That was all put on hold and it was replaced with an abiding presence of fear, gloom, doom, hopelessness, and a myriad of other negative emotions that did not help any of us. But now that we have gotten free and we have broken out of that box, now we recognize there is an importance to relationships and connection. So in our 365-day journey of transformation, one of the areas that is going to be absolutely critical is restoration of connection. It is very important in order to have a very healthy, successful, productive life that we are connected to others in a very meaningful way. You know, there was a study done regarding people from Italy, some of the smallest, most isolated villages in Italy, where these people seem to be living an inordinate, or some would say an extremely excessive amount of time. And they were trying to figure out what exactly is it that's causing these Italians to live so very long and at the same time to have remarkable health, clarity of mind, no issues with dementia, no issues with sluggish thinking or other maladies that affect emotions such as depression, anxiety disorders. What is it that was different about these villagers? Upon studying them, what they realized is that the village was a very unique and very close knit environment. And people developed routine habits of a purposeful engagement. Basically, when a villager would leave their home, because refrigeration is not a big thing in Italy and these in some of the remote villages, you have a very small ice box, even to this day, that's used to keep your fresh vegetables cold. And what that basically, if you can imagine, if you only have a small amount of vegetables in your refrigerator or your ice box, then you may only have enough for today and tomorrow. So that means the next day, day number three, you would have to go back into the town in the center of the village and you would have to purchase groceries and fresh vegetables. Now, why is that important? When they began to watch this behavior, number one, the villagers were walking. They were getting in a lot of steps. So, as you and I are reclaiming the greatness that is actually, for some of us, gone dormant within us, as we're reclaiming an understanding of our purpose and our plan, as we are filling our minds with new information, assimilating that information so that our thoughts are different. And because thoughts are things, as you've heard often said, you become what you think about, we're recalibrating the way that we think so that we begin to think of the future that we actually desire. As we're doing this, we also must become healthier. And although there are many, many strategies, most people think that it's as easy as a pill or a shot. Unfortunately, the interesting thing about a pill or a shot, it may be able to curb your appetite. It may even be able to increase your metabolism. But there is an additional hormone that's released, oxytocin, and it's released when there is physical activity accompanied with joy. And I want you to imagine that particular hormone is also equated to the hormone that's often found during youth. So it's a wonderful thing. So, walking is going to be one of your secret weapons in reclaiming your greatness, understanding your purpose, pursuing the mission that you've actually been placed on the planet for, bearing in mind that although we can have many, many goals and we can have many, many plans, when health is poor, there's only one goal that matters, and that's regaining our health. So, what we've got to do is make a firm commitment to maintain our health. And as long as our legs work, we have to walk, not drive everywhere, but walk. Sometimes, and this is an exercise for you to do, and this is like homework, try going to the grocery store. And instead of finding the closest space to the door, park at the farthest distance in the parking lot and walk to the store. Once you've done this 10 times, you have actually reactivated the understanding that you need to walk, and walking is beneficial. So, what they found in these villagers taking these walks from their homes into the village square, purchasing their vegetables, fresh vegetables, and dairy product, and then bringing it back to their homes, they found that these people were not just healthier, they were physically more fit. There was a lower BMI. There was very low fat levels. Their cholesterol levels were low, and they're trying to figure this one thing out. They're also aging remarkably beautifully. They're younger, fitter, leaner, healthier, happier, more engaged, more astute, more sharp. What is it that they were doing in addition to that? In addition to the walking, in addition to the fresh food, which tomorrow we will be talking about food because we're getting you to the point that you'll be ready to understand that concept of a second childhood that we must all face. But imagine this, they were walking and they began to realize something. When the villagers went into the village, they went to very specific stores. They didn't go to a different store every time. They went to specific stores every single trip into the village center. And what they noticed about them is they spoke to each and every person consistently along the way. So, coming out of the house, they spoke to the mailman. Going down the street, they spoke to the newspaper boy, and they actually engaged them in conversation. We have almost become a society, and we're thankful for Uncle Jeff being as wonderful as he was to come up with Amazon to be able to drop packages right at our door. We talked about that in a previous episode. But one of the things that has happened, it's actually removed the human engagement element. What they found about these villagers is that not only did they go into the city and talk to certain people consistently day in and day out, but they engaged them. They asked about their families. They asked about their children. When's the last time you asked the Amazon driver that frequents your home about their family? When's the last time that you took the time to ask the person that may cut your grass or that helps you in the grocery store? When's the last time you actually asked them and meant it? How are you? How are you doing today? Do you know sometimes taking that brief moment, it not only has a medicinal value for the person to whom we speak, but it actually is medicine to our own souls. I want you to imagine for 1 second, as we're going through 365 days of transformation, one of the things that's going to be important is connection. When we say connection, this would be doing things that we haven't done in a while, like going to visit our loved ones. So let's say you have children now and you have grandchildren. This is a wonderful time at this point in our lives to start visiting our children and our grandchildren. Why is that important? It actually, what they have found in studies is right now, Gen Z, this particular generation that's now the next group of baby boomers, if you will, this particular generation, Gen Z, respects parents and grandparents more than any other individuals in their lives. You actually have a chance right now to productively and positively shape the future of the next generation by simply engaging. If you have children that have young children, offer to come to their house and watch the children for them. It does two things. It's not just giving them a chance to have fun and enjoy the life that you want to enjoy. No, it's actually offering you an opportunity to create a bond that will last a lifetime with the children that will come to see you at a point when you can no longer travel. Those memories are going to be critical and crucial. But what I love about this book, The Power Years, it actually talks about some rules of visitation. And I want you to hear this. This is so good. You should always want to create an environment where you're welcomed at your children's home. The last thing your children need with their own children running amok in the medicine cabinet and playing on the stairs is another needy or bossy person in the house. Grandparents who truly want to be welcomed in the home of their children need to do more than sit on a chair and drink Diet Coke. And they definitely should not behave like General Patton. Take the grandchildren out for a couple of hours, or to the mall, or to the movies. Bring or cook dinner. Engage the grandchildren in a game of shoots and ladders. Your own children will be so happy to get their kids out of their hair for that brief time, they'll long for your next visit. And the beauty of children at this stage of life is that they're returnable. You get to leave at any time you want. As a matter of fact, another consideration, if you're able financially, may be to become closer to your children. This might be the right time to relocate. When you get to a point where money is not your primary concern every day that you wake, you now have other options. As a matter of fact, this is all on page 76 and 77 in the book, The Power Years. According to a Century21.com poll, they found that 51% of people, when asked, who would you prefer to live in your neighborhood, they responded family. When asked whom they preferred as neighbors, only 16% chose movie stars, 12% chose athletes, rock stars came in at the bottom of the list at 16%. Why is all of this important? As we're going through this 365 days of transformation, I believe that your best days are yet ahead of you, and the future is so bright that you don't want to miss it. This could actually be your turn, just like it says in the book. This could be your turn to make business ownership a reality for you. Do you know when paying the mortgage is no longer the abiding issue in your mind because you have more years behind you than ahead of you? This may be a great time to consider putting together, it says here on page 110, putting together a team of contacts to motivate and advise you. Don't try to go it alone. Having a team is more effective and fun. As a matter of fact, one of your strengths is having a broad base of relatives, friends, and colleagues. Lean on them, introduce them. As a matter of fact, keep building a network. You might even look up old friends and colleagues with whom you've lost touch. This is the advantage of thinking about your power years right now. As a matter of fact, consider putting together an advisory team. Start with the people you count on for support. Your list might include your spouse, clergyman, best friend, favorite uncle, financial planner, lawyer, maybe even your ex boss. Contact each of them and share your business idea with them. You might be amazed. The great thing about success is it is coming to you. You are properly positioned for such a time as this. Your best days are ahead of you. But remember this, it is impossible to continue doing the exact same thing that we've done all of these years, expecting different results. To put that into a more practical application, if a person does not change, I actually believe every person should embrace and consider starting or engaging in a business enterprise. If you think about it, if all we do is keep everything the same, actually, what happens? We begin to shrink. Even in a yard around your home, if we keep everything the same and do nothing different, the weeds overtake the grass. It is important that we engage, that we do no longer live life as though it's going to take care of itself. It isn't. I want you to remember one thing. When you look in the mirror today, the only person that will be available that you can count on to take care of you in the future is that person that's staring back at you. The decisions we make today have ripple effects for generations. Someone was asking me, what do you do when it seems that your child, your adult child has lost motivation? And I gave them a simple answer, and it's one word, and I'm going to share that word with you. Actually, it's two words. Win again. Win. W I N, win again. Show your children that you are who you are. Let them know that you don't fear failure. You are ready to get back into the game of life. The misinformation that we heard in the past is behind us, and it is now time to take your rightful place. I am so glad that you joined us on the No Time to Waste podcast, and it is my honor and privilege to be your guide during the next 345 days. The best is yet to come. And I want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor, Care Michigan, who's our host and sponsor for making the No Time to Waste podcast possible. Care Michigan is a medical case management and care coordination company located in Troy, Michigan. They can be reached at 833-696-2626 and let them know you heard about them on the No Time to Waste podcast. And you can visit their website if you or anyone that you know has been severely injured in a motor vehicle accident at www.caremichigan.com. Our time is up, and let's go.